What's going on, people? Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Morning View here on United View. Happy Thursday. Getting
You
closer to
enjoyed
that
that,
Friday
didn't
press
you?
conference.
You
I did
enjoyed
because
that.
Owen plays the intro and he's got it on his side, and I can always hear it in his headphones. I'm just playing along,
Are they that?
along.
Are
You know
they
what I mean?
that loud? Are they that loud?
Yeah, I
I
think you
mean,
need to
I'm
maybe turn
telling.
them down, mate.
I know I don't. I can't hear nothing. You know my hearing, honestly. Oh, they are right all the
Hey,
way up. And
yeah,
sometimes when I press it, I'll go play, and then actually I'm going turn that up.
yeah.
Turn that up. I can't
You're
hear
just used
anything.
to having them proper loud, isn't it?
All the
Yeah,
time.
that is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. But look, it's just I'm always complaining to Flex. I'm going, I can't hear. Oh, one of my ears. Oh, this
Can't
ear's
hear.
blocked.
It's too hot. What's going on? It is on a proper Victor Meldrew, mate. Proper Victor
Yeah,
Meldrew.
yeah. I
Mate.
don't believe it.
Believe it. Everyone is getting their hellos in. MK W says big ups, Flex and Owen. Morning guy says CH. Like the video on your way in, guy says love. Morning all says Winters. Morning UV fam. Morning Flex and Owen says Daniel Luciano. All of the members are inside the place, man. So let us know where you're watching from and how you're feeling this morning. We've got a lot to get into again. I feel like this international break, I said to Owen before we went live, I was like, mate, this international break, usually it's quite quiet, it's a bit dry, and you're like, no one really cares about international football that much. What we wonder what the topics are going to kind of be, what's going to happen. And look,
A lot.
just look. A lot. Yeah, a lot.
Mm.
Maguire speaks out after the big hoo-ha about Gareth Southgate in the morning after, the night before, when Gareth Southgate came to the staunch defence of Harry Maguire, and that dominated yesterday. Harry Maguire has now spoken out himself. Ten Hag and Sancho latest. I think there's some interesting developments with Richard Arnold and John Murtough having to step in to reconcile the pair. That doesn't sound good if that is true, however true that is. The United Premier League squad has been finalised. Some interesting inclusions. And Martinez concerns again, according to another report out there, I think from the Telegraph, was it?
Yes.
Telegraph, we'll get into that. And, of course, your generic Manchester United news. But let's get straight to the top of it. Harry Maguire, you don't want to keep bringing this up. Do I keep freezing?
A couple of times. That's the second time.
You don't want to keep bringing up the Harry Maguire thing in terms of, trying to weigh in on him or anything like that. But, when the England manager comes out and does or says what he did, we're going to have to talk about it. And when Harry Maguire comes out and says what he said yesterday, we're going to have to talk about it. So this isn't us just bringing it up to keep the hounds out on Harry Maguire. But what did he say, and who did he say it to?
Yeah, I think that's a good point to actually bring up, Flex, because sometimes I have seen that in the comments where they say, oh, why are you talking about this? It's, well, Harry Maguire's talking about this. Gareth Southgate's talking about this. Same with like the Sancho and the Ten Hag situation. When you've got the news is happening, unfortunately, you're burdened by the news. That's what you have to talk about sometimes, isn't it? Now, Harry Maguire, as I mentioned, has spoken out, as Flex mentioned, has spoken out regarding, I guess, just the general discourse surrounding him over the last few days. Now, there's quite a few quotes here, so bear with me. He has said, I would not say I'm a person who struggles with pressure mentally. I've been through a lot in the last couple of years, and I have been Manchester United captain for nearly 4 years. I'm not sure of why he was speaking in the current or present tense as opposed to not the past tense. Nevertheless, you take a huge amount of responsibility and everything that comes with it, and that is a lot of bad as well as good. He also said, I would not say that I'm used to it, criticism, but I can deal with it. It pretty much takes the pressure away from my teammates and puts it all on myself. It makes them play better for sure. It is a little bit of banter, and it's a hostile environment, referring to going away to Scotland, which of course he did get sort of heckled by the Scottish fans, as you would expect. Yeah. Speaking about the England fans, he said they have seen what I have delivered for England over 59 appearances. I've been to 3 major tournaments with them. They have followed us around loud and proud, and I have grown up a huge England fan, and nothing is better than receiving a great reception every time I play for my country. But this is when it gets really interesting, Flex. He spoke about the sort of Manchester United side of things. He said, quote, I know at the moment when I have not started a game in the first 4 games of the season, the story comes to me. I want to play games. I want to play football. The first 4 weeks were hard because it was 1 game a week and the manager didn't select me. But we have lots of games coming up now, and I am sure I will play lots of games. When referring to his failed West Ham move in the transfer window, he said, quote, we just couldn't come to an agreement. They, Manchester United, were happy for me to stay, and I was happy to fight for my place. I want to do that, and every time I train or play, I will give everything. So the England stuff, you can park that to one side. I suppose it's called sort of generic support, saying, the fans are great. I'm used to pressure. I kind of find it funny that he kind of almost described himself as a bit of a martyr. Well, it takes the pressure off them, so
Yeah,
I'll take it. Don't worry.
I'm the
But
good guy.
it's more the second part when he's talking about United, when saying, at the moment I haven't started in the first 4 games. When you say, I want to play games, I want to play football, but there was an opportunity to do that over the summer, and it's very weird because he says
Says we
also
didn't
about
make
the
an
West.
agreement.
Yeah, he goes, we just didn't come to an agreement. But I thought he didn't talk to West Ham.
Mm.
So what do you think of all of that? What do you think of what he's saying there?
I don't know, man. It just you try and just leave it because you know that ultimately nothing's going to change until he leaves. His football experience, I don't want to say his life because it might sound dramatic, but it could be because he might be having I should imagine he's having a proper tough time with all this going on. I just think his experience is going to improve when he leaves Man United. So as long as he keeps staying here, this stigma is just what's going to happen the whole time. The only way this can be undone, which obviously is never going to happen, is if he plays every game for Man United, dominates, no one gets past, brilliant. Man United keeping clean sheets, they're going high up the table, and he's fundamental to that. That's the only way. And even that, it's like people will still probably find a way to say, oh, it's just a bit of good form, it's a bit of luck. But anyway, it's miles off that happening. So it's like he needs to leave for this whole thing to go away. And that's the annoying thing. It's like from both sides, whether it's the England side of it and Harry Maguire side of it, I know from the Man United side of it, we tried to move him on, but sins of the past, all of that, he dug his heels in and said, I'd rather you pay me what I'm owed. That's his prerogative. It's there in stone. It's black and white. He chose the payout, which is his right, over going to play every week at West Ham. That's cool. That's up to him. But it all can go away. It all can go away. If he goes to West Ham, I'm telling you now, right, he'll be fine. I do agree. And this is where some people go, no, you're wrong. He is a championship player. He's the worst centre-back I've ever seen. Look, he's not as bad as everybody says he is. He's not. The problem that he's got is he's slow physically, like as a centre-back. But where you're slow with that, he doesn't make up for that with quick thinking, high IQ. So a John Terry, a Thiago Silva, they may not be blessed with pace, but those guys are seeing things. Those guys are putting themselves.
They adapt. And they lose the yard of pace, don't they? And they go, right, I've got
they
to
adapt.
change
So
things.
I'm not going to get caught high up out of position. I'm going to nip things in the bud before they become a problem. He's nowhere near that level of thinking. So he's basically, and I mean this with respect, slow in the head, but in football terms, as Ty would say, in football terms of reading the game and the game IQ, and he's also slow physically. So, but if you sit off him, if it was West Ham, low block, even not playing so much, well, yeah, counter-attack football, give him space and time. He can ping it out left, he can ping it out right, win his headers. A lot of stuff's going to be in the air. High set piece team, got Ward-Prowse, they put a lot of crosses in. He can come up from set pieces, get his head on the end of things, which we thought he would do a lot more for us, actually. That was one of the things we didn't quite work out that way. He ain't the worst. He can play next to Kurt Zouma. He can. He can play next to Aguerd. He can. But at Man United, forget it. At the highest level, forget it. And his confidence is shot and he just needs to go somewhere and restart. But he declined that. So not only did he decline
that's crazy. We're having this discussion after the transfer window closed, when it's like, where was this sort of sentiment from him? I just want to play football. I've got to be playing games. I need to be playing games. He had the opportunity to, mate, and I feel like we're going crazy here because it's like we said even before the transfer window last season, the writing's on the wall. And all the way through the transfer window, the writing was on the wall. And that's when I go back to Gareth Southgate, when it's like, Gareth, did you not have it? I feel very strongly about this. I feel very strongly about this. Some of the criticism he's been getting. Okay, fair enough. What we said yesterday, some of it's way over the top when it comes to him. And he has become a meme or whatever. He's, whatever you want to call it, he's become it over the last several years. But if you really wanted to play football, you must know deep down in your heart, or someone has to tell you, that if you really want to be playing games regularly, it ain't at Manchester United. That ship has just sailed. It's gone. And And I understand that, Ten Hag, because they go, well, why didn't Ten Hag say something to him? Because I suppose maybe, realistically, Ten Hag has no idea what's going on above him, right? If we sold Harry Maguire, would we even get a replacement in? Do you even trust the process at this point in time?
Well, we saw it was going to be. We couldn't get to Debo, could we?
Exactly. Well, arguably
Oh,
that
because
might
we
be
didn't let him go.
why didn't go.
Yeah.
But the point being is that, I find it difficult when Maguire's like, I just want to play games, and there's going to be, and he put it down to in the quotes that it's just because there's one game a week. Once there's several games a week, I'll starting games. What, you think you're going to start Champions League games? Is that going to happen? Bayern Munich, not going to happen. Galatasaray at home, maybe. Copenhagen at home, maybe. But realistically, we've seen what Ten Hag's like. We've seen what Ten Hag's like in European football, though, as well. If he has his strongest team available, Harry Maguire will not play in those games at all.
No,
because it's
especially Champions League, mate. Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Even them home games you just mentioned. Nah, mate. Unless that is the whole point. Champions League, Varane, and all that. You know what I mean? That is Martinez, whatever he's come in for and stuff, and how good he is. These are the games where you really need your best players. Like, there's no tinkering. The only way he plays is as it always is, when it's the last 5 minutes of a game and a team is getting on top of us and we want to see it out, and you bring him on, you probably go to a back five, or you take off Martinez because you go, look, this is just about height for the last 5 minutes. This team's on top of us. They're just lumping balls in. Let's just get Harry in. So you can see out the last 5 minutes. And even then, when he comes on, we're like, please, just, because of the situation. Or when there's catastrophic injuries, like loads of injuries, because he's fourth choice. So at least 2 centre-backs need to be out at the same time.
Well, even like this is the crazy thing too at the moment. Like, if Luke Shaw was, put it this way, against, with Arsenal or going forward, if Luke Shaw was fit, and we had these injuries to like Martinez and Varane, it would be Luke Shaw and Lindelof at centre back.
Luke Shaw and Lindelof, man.
That's what it
would be. Then you bring Malacia or Dalot to left back.
Yeah, that's what he would be doing, because he's proved it. Because Ten Hag has proved it. So you're so far down the pecking order, and this I've noticed this sort of reaction. I don't know if you have, where we mentioned the other day, didn't we, about because of some of the sort of negative for him is so over the top that sometimes people have to sort of overcompensate it by staunchly defending it. I saw Phil Neville on social media last night going, no, you'd want to stay and fight for your place. It doesn't matter. It's Manchester United. And I went, wait a minute. This is the same Phil Neville that left and went to Everton. And he openly says, yeah, people came in. I was further down the pecking order. I just needed game time. What are we talking about here? What are we doing?
Exactly.
Stuff like that. I mean, and
that's what I think Gareth Southgate from.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrong people.
Exactly, and it's got so silly. I saw yesterday some of the coverage as well. Was there was some like charity golf game, right? They were asking celebrities.
Was Gareth Bale there?
Gareth Bale was there. They asked Tom Holland, Spider-Man. They went, "Hey, what do you think?"
Yeah, I saw it. What do
you think of Harry Maguire? I'm looking at it going, and that is when you sort of go, well, this
does he even support Man United?
He puts Tottenham. So you go like, but you go like, well, it clearly, and what's he going to say? He went, well, Harry's a good guy, I think, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a bit like, that's when it's becoming a thing now. And for everyone involved, you go to Gareth Southgate again, take him out the firing line. You go to Harry Maguire, realize what the situation is. It's over. If an offer comes in January, take it, but don't do the loan loophole as well. Sort out what you're going to have to do, because your permanent move is the only option for him. So, it's just one of those ones where I get it. Look, you do an interview, you say, I want to play games, I want to fight for my spot. What's he going to say? Come out. No, I don't want to play. I stayed because of the money. I'm just going to sit on the bench all season. Of course, he's not going to say that.
No,
but
he's not.
But it's just one of those things where it's like the writing's been on the wall for ages, absolutely ages. And it's just, and now it's just, again, it's just silly. It's just got silly.
It is. And obviously, when he comes out in public and talks about it, it just makes it worse. It does. I don't know why he had to do that interview, if that was part of his media responsibilities, or he wanted to do that to clear the air, or I don't know. But it just doesn't help the situation, because at the end of the day, he had a chance to make this go away. Do I think the treatment of him is excessive? Yes, I do. It's got to a point where it's just ridiculous. And he's never gonna be able to rectify the form, like I said, because one, he won't play long enough, and two, he's always going to be playing under this environment at Man United, where the fans feel like this, the opposition fans feel how they feel, to the point where even the England manager's saying, look, I get the Scottish fans doing it, trying to get one up, trying to get in his head, you know, ironic cheers and jeers whenever he enters the fray. And like I said, that has an effect, not just on Harry Maguire, but that has an effect on the other players on our team and the opposing team. Like I said, Gabriel Jesus comes in after his little knee op. He's like, oh, lovely. Let me get stuck into this. Our crowd are on him. Let me just run at this guy. Do you know what I mean? See what happens. See what he's on. Let me test him out. He makes him a target. And Erik ten Hag has made his decision. He's made his decision that he doesn't want to play Harry Maguire. And the club haven't supported him enough in trying to move him on. Well, I'll say that. Harry Maguire said no. So, and the money. I don't know whether they couldn't pay him the money as well.
Then even that, you go to like... If you knew that you wanted to get rid of Harry Maguire, didn't you initiate this conversation super early and say, look, we realise you're going to get a bump up in salary because we qualified for the Champions League. We realise you've got time left on your contract. What are you looking for if we were having to move you on? And you start that conversation early. And then whenever you are in negotiations with a club, i.e. West Ham, you say, FYI, this is what it's going to cost for us to get rid of him. So we've got to figure out some kind of compromise there. You do that. And then you get into Gareth Southgate and you say, you know, to Harry Maguire, look, if you're not playing regularly, it's going to be really difficult for me to pick you because, like I said before, the moment that Gareth Southgate says to him, yeah, don't worry about it, Harry, I'll pick you anyway, like he did, then Harry Maguire's like, well, I don't need to go anywhere. I can stay here. I can stay at United. I'll see what happens with injuries this season. I'll get paid very well. And I'm still going to be going to the Euros. Make no mistake, yeah, even if he stays till Manchester United till the end of the season, and he doesn't play hardly any games at all, he will still be in that Euro squad next season.
Not just in it, start.
I mean, maybe not. I mean, they're suggesting that, you know, with John Stones coming back, Gahey making his way in, Colwell, like there are players that might actually sort of usurp him and maybe,
he's
but he'll
be in the
shield,
squad, man.
He'll be in the squad.
Southgate.
He'll be in the squad.
Yeah. It'd be,
Cody to the World Cup. Okay.
So yeah, for vibes. Yeah, he did bring him for vibes. Yeah, and he always sees Maguire as whether he's playing or not, just someone who's like experienced and been there, done it, you know. And Maguire always draws to that. What does he say? 59 caps for England or whatever it is he's got.
Yeah.
You know, says I've played in big games, and you know, I do. There is an element of like, you know, when you are going through it, you do want a manager to really, you know, back you. And I thought, and the players, you know, obviously they're going to. I thought Ramsdale did an interview, and he spoke quite well, actually, considering, you know, he was coming from more of this thing of like, I've been through that. I've had relegations. I've got 2 relegations too. And, you know, when the fans are out and the media's out and, you know, you feel it. He's had it when he went to Arsenal, saying everyone's saying he's crap. Why are you getting him? And he had to prove everyone wrong. So he can kind of see where Harry Maguire's coming from. It's just that Harry Maguire hasn't, unfortunately, got to the other side where everyone goes, you know what? We shouldn't have. Yeah. I tell you what, we were wrong. We were wrong. Maybe that does show the difference in mentality, because Maguire is mistake ridden now as well. Like, don't get me wrong. I was talking to Danny Murphy yesterday on the show that we do on 5, and he was saying, look, apart from the goal, look, he was fine. He didn't lose the ball, and you know, he kept it ticking, kept passing about, to the point where at the beginning I was like, do Scotland fans realise they're 2-0 down and Harry Maguire's just keeping the ball? Like nothing's happening. Then he scores an own goal. But like it was an own goal where that can happen, but it had to be him though. It had to be him.
I saw a comp reel yesterday, Flex. You know me, I'm not one for comps, but he has scored that version of an own goal quite a few times.
Very proper clumsy, can't sort his feet out. I know. And that is because that's what I mean about the speed of thought, and then the speed of legs to sort your feet out quickly to sort that out. Like John Terry wouldn't do that. Rio Ferdinand wouldn't do that.
It just feels like with him
Lewis
as well.
Dunk wouldn't do that.
It just feels like with him as well, doesn't it? And I can almost maybe luck comes into it. I don't know, but like you said, like it just always feels like it's him. You know what I mean? When you like
It
something
always
happened,
is.
like for
When
instance,
you're
when
down
that own
bad, you're
goal,
down bad.
when that own goal happened, everyone went, "Of course, it's Maguire." Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And you do almost sympathize to an extent where you go, "Jeez, man!" Like, and that's when again you go back to the manager, take him out of the firing line, or
And
if he's
that's
playing
what I
regularly for West Ham, you know, you build up a bit of form. You know what I mean? You have some good performances and all that kind of. It just
Why
feels
did he
like
have to come on? Come on, though. Like
he didn't need to.
it's a
He got
friendly.
hey,
He's
Flex,
just played.
he got
in
the captain's
Ukraine game.
armband. He got the captain's armband after Harry Kane went off.
I
Talk
just
about
don't
that's
get
doubling down. Captain
Yeah.
country.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you can put that on your list of a time when you've captained us because that means a lot to international players. Of course it does. I remember when Raheem Sterling did it as well. It's a big deal. Of course it is. It's a boyhood dream that is. That's it's an unbelievable achievement to captain your country at any stage, whether it's for 5 minutes at the end of a game or whether you've
Yeah.
got a captain for a game or whatever. It's a big thing. But again, exactly what you just said there, and I said it yesterday. It's Gareth Southgate making sure he doubles down, triples down, quadruple downs, whatever, however many downs you can get, he's doing it because he's saying, he's my guy and I'm going to keep reminding you all to prove you all wrong. You don't have to do that, Gareth. Like you said, like Owen said there, we know that he's going to go to the Euros. We know that you favour him. We know that you're backing him. Why do you want to throw him into at 2-0 up when I'm not saying the game's done, but 2-0 up at half for a half, right? You've dominated Scotland. You've put to bed the whole animosity of the crowd and that. Don't give them a reason. Like I said, Levi Cole was played with Lewis Dunk. Just to have a look at them two together. Just have a look. You
And it felt
don't
like
have
a
to bring Harry
more
Maguire in.
sort of future England team anyway, didn't it? Because I had a lot of younger
Yeah,
players in, players
Eze
that didn't
came
play.
on.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
just so why do but no, you have to go back to him. You
Mm.
know? I don't know, man. It's just really annoying. Aminor says, Flex, where did you get your top from, please? Send the link. In terms of sending a link, it just
FC.
LAFC. LAFC, yeah. They sent it to me, to be fair. It was when I'll tell you what happened. Somebody added me on Twitter and I think I might have saw it and I said, is that actually real? It says Flex on the front. Like, what on earth is is that a parrot? I thought someone made it up and they was like, no, it's actually real. So big up Alexis Guerreros, my guy.
Yes.
Doing great things on CBS, amazing.
Yeah.
He's obviously got loads of contacts in the MLS. I said, bro, get onto the phone to them. Like, I need that. And yeah, a few days later, they'd sent it from LA. And they sent me the black one as well, black and gold one, where Gareth Bale scored that amazing header in the last minute of the cup and they won it. So yeah, LAFC,
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you can
LAFC.
get it from. I don't know if is it a new season yet? I think it is
In the
now.
MLS?
Yeah.
Is it the old one still continuing? I saw a thing the other day
Oh
that since Messi had arrived in Miami, they hadn't lost or something like that.
no,
It's
yeah, they haven't.
outrageous.
And he's playing in that pink kit, which I do have because the MLS sent me that kit as well. I gave it away
Yeah.
because it was too big.
They literally,
But
when they
yeah,
like bottom of the
so
league
this
and he
is
shows up and then
yeah,
they like,
shows up, takes a piss,
but
mate.
to be fair, it's not just Messi, it's like Busquets, Alba, and all that kind of stuff as
Yeah,
well.
it's a
It's
joke.
kind of,
It's a
it's
joke
old,
what they've
it's
done.
old. It's like Barca. You remember Masters Football on Sky?
Yes,
It's like that,
yes.
but actually
On the
on
blue
turf.
carpet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to love Masters
Wicked.
Football.
Masters
Oh,
football was wicked.
so good.
Absolutely wicked. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really good. But I think this is still the latest kit, so yeah, you can get it from there. Any more? No, we're good. Let's move on. Ten Hag
Yes.
and Sancho. I mean, this is something that's been going on as well. But when you look at the reports coming out yesterday with
Yeah.
the likes of John Murtough and Richard Arnold getting involved, that doesn't sound good. What's happened?
No, so this was quite an interesting one actually as well, because the Daily Mail reported yesterday that John Murtough was kind of intervening in this and trying to mediate between Erik ten Hag and Jadon Sancho. And then the post that they had put on social media was quite quickly deleted. So everyone went, was that not true? Like, what happened with that? But they did later post the article. It was from Sammy Mockable saying that Manchester United's football director John Murtough and CEO Richard Arnold are at the centre of ongoing talks to settle the dispute between obviously the Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag and Jadon Sancho. Sancho returned to Man United training at the start of the week after non-international players were given last week off and has held discussions with United officials as the club look to draw a line under the public spat, with Arnold and Murtough taking an active role in trying to de-escalate tensions between the player and the manager. There is an understanding at United the situation is not a simple one to resolve, and as a result, Murtough in particular is heavily involved in the process of trying to resolve the issue. Manchester United's chief executive Richard Arnold is regularly updated on the progress of those talks, but John Murtough's role is understood to be significantly more prominent. So, I mean, Flex, they're trying to sort of suggest that this has got more complex than just a disciplinary issue between a player and the manager, and that executives are now getting involved to de-escalate a tense situation. And when I saw this yesterday, I went, what on earth is this snowballed into? Because we had spoken about previously, hadn't we, that, it was almost an undermining of authority by Sancho to put out that statement. Historically, in the past, the manager would deal with it, whether fine the player, suspend the player, what have you. And we had hoped with Sancho deleting the tweet that was pinned for a week or so that that was a step in the right direction. But these latest reports are suggesting that, no, this is still really, really tense. And it's more complex than that. And that's the part that kind of worries me of, like, I said before that I thought Sancho would come back and, in a couple of weeks' time, it'd all be resolved. But if you're getting, Richard Arnold, Chief Executive Officer, CEO of Manchester United, and the football director, John Murtough, into a player and manager dispute, then that feels way, way bigger than maybe we thought it was, right?
If that's true, that's really bad, in my opinion, because what should happen, it should be the other way around. What should happen is that Eric Ten Hag, they go to Eric Ten Hag and say, Eric, what's the crack here? What do you want to do? We'll support you. That's what should happen. And Eric should go, I want to fine him 2 weeks' wages and have him out the squad for a game or two, or whatever it is they decide. Or Eric might say, I don't know. I can't get through to him.
My wit's end. I've tried everything.
I'm at my wit's end. And that's where it becomes more complicated, because when you have the CEOs or people who make decisions upstairs getting into the playing squad matters, that usually suggests that they're trying to protect an asset, because, and they're stepping in because of like the legalities of doing certain things. And actually, I picked this up from the Arsenal documentary. That situation where they was trying to get rid of Aubameyang, it was quite complex because Mikel Arteta had decided, no, you're going to go and train with the under 23s. You're going to go and train with the kids. And it got to a point where the lawyers, I can't remember the lady's name, she was ringing saying, what's the latest with Oba? Because you've given him that to train with the under 23s, but legally now we can't. There has to be a solution. You either have to sell him or he goes back into the squad, because he hasn't done anything wrong, but that has to end now. I think to contracts, sort of thing. There's things in it. Yeah, you can't just banish somebody with no, like, how much has he brought the club into disrepute? There's an agreed punishment that's now come to an end. There now needs to be a solution, which is why they were frantically trying to get him to Barcelona at the time and on a last-minute loan and all that stuff. And Edu was on the phone. It was fascinating, and I liken it a little bit, maybe not to this in terms of, because I don't know whether Eric Ten Hag has said he's banished him and doesn't want him back. That's unfair. But I think for him to not be able to sort it quickly by himself, and those two need to get involved, that suggests that there's something bigger there. Either he's gone, forget it, he's not playing for me, and I don't know how to get him going to get a response from him. And they're going, well, we paid 70 odd million for this guy. We can't have out in public, like what's starting to leak out, that his attitude's bad and you've done everything you can. And if we want to sell him and protect his value, that's our job now. That's where we come into it. That's a Manchester United asset that we've spent money on. It's not how it should be. It should be about on the pitch. It should be about, what's happening with the squad and backing the manager. But as we know how Man United works, there is a business side to it. And any football club, to be honest, we don't like to hear it because of the Glazers, because we're not well run. But any football club has the business side. It's just how the business side is run. So that is also showing that maybe, and I'm hypothesizing because it's early, maybe it doesn't show that Ten Hag has the control that he wants to have. Like, I don't like the sound of that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, maybe I was just thinking while you're talking there that maybe it might be a situation of, because we don't know what's preceded this. There's been a lot of reporting and rumor about what's preceded this, and maybe it might be a case of Ten Hag just being like, after that statement, that's it, that's the last straw.
It. You never sort it out.
He will never play for me again. You figure it out or whatever. It might be like that. And now it might be a case of maybe John Murtough and Richard Arnold trying to sort of work on Ten Hag, almost going, oh, come on, Eric,
Yeah, that's true.
Reintegrate him. We can't
easily be that.
We couldn't get rid of him and all this kind of stuff. Let's try and figure this out, because you know what Ten Hag's like. He might have just been like, because again, there have been rumors about lateness to training and sluggishness. And I mean, I actually read a bit more of that Athletic piece that was written yesterday, and it was talking more about Sancho's sort of background at Dortmund, and they were saying about the lengths allegedly that they had to go to make him show up on time. That the manager of the team, he was previously assistant manager, then he became an interim manager, would have to literally pick him up to take him to some of the meetings, or they'd place him with Erling Haaland on the bus or in rondos to try and be like, that's a professional. That's what professional does. Work with him. And it did work with him. And maybe, as like I just said, maybe for the last 12 months, Eric's like, I've not been happy with it. I allegedly had to set his call times an hour before everyone else to get him to show up on time. And even that wasn't working. And with that, once he undermined my authority by posting the thing on social media, that's it. Done. He will never play for me ever again. And like you said, then United get involved, going, well, look, Eric, it's a big asset. The windows are shut now, so we've got to use him. We've got to find a way to use him. We've got to do something. And maybe, I don't really know how the hierarchy would work, but who knows what the players might be talking to John Murtough as well. Hey John, come on, can you sort it out with like Sancho, because they might be friends with Jadon Sancho. You know what I mean? The sort of the dynamics of a squad are very complex, aren't they? So maybe that'll be a part of it too. I mean, on the other hand, if it's a case of like, I don't know, the football director and the CEO taking that authority away from Ten Hag, being like, let's sort it out, then that's almost undermining the manager's authority as well. But I lean more into thinking the more likely thing might be just Ten Hag being like, wash my hands of him, I'm done.
And because that's above his head,
work on him.
Because it's like also like the intricacies of doing that and the legalities of him just saying, I don't want this player. That does then become an upstairs problem, because they're the ones who, like you said, managers don't have a clue, really. They've got rough ideas. But when it comes to crossing the T's and dotting the I's and legalities and what you can and can't do, that's the job of upstairs. That's the admin team. That is John Murtough. That is Richard Arnold. You lot. So if he says, I don't want him, or I can't integrate him back as it stands, you lot tell me what I can and can't do, because I'm telling you now, he ain't just coming back and playing for me. So I need guidance from you on this. It could be that. Just quickly, Harry Maguire's mother, Zoe Maguire, has taken to Instagram with a lengthy post in support of her son, which you'd imagine any mum would.
Of course.
And she says this: as a mum, seeing the level of negative and abusive comments in which my son is receiving from some fans, pundits, and the media is disgraceful and totally unacceptable to any walk of life, never mind someone who works his socks off for club and country. I was there in the stand as usual. It's not acceptable what's been created over nothing. I understand that in the football world, there are ups and downs, positives and negatives, but what Harry receives has gone far beyond football, in quotations. For me, seeing him go through what he's going through is not okay. I would hate to have to see any other parents or players go through this in the future, especially the young boys and girls breaking through the ranks today. Harry has a massive heart, and it's a good job he's mentally strong and can handle it, as others may not be able to. I wish this sort of abuse on nobody. And then proceeds to have a big heart emoji at the end. So Harry Maguire's mum coming through and supporting her son like any other son would. I've gone crazy there. Why have
got a bit blurry, Flex. Yeah,
it's weird. Maybe let's just refresh quickly.
Yes, possibly try that.
Let me do that.
But while Flex comes back, what I would say with that about what his mother has just said there, Harry Maguire, I would say that, again, it goes back to, I look at Gareth Southgate and his comments after the fact. Has it shined more of a spotlight onto a situation? I don't know. I mean, I was just sort of saying, Flex, I mean, you can even steer it back once again to Southgate by saying that, his comments afterwards have sort of caused this storm once again. Not to say that it wasn't ongoing, because obviously there were jeers and all that kind of stuff once he was coming back into the once he was coming into the games and what have you. But still, it's a bit like with this Sancho thing. The longer you draw it out, not that you should just say nothing, but sometimes you've just got to move on quickly, don't you? Because the longer you drag it out, it will get worse.
He was emotional. Gareth Southgate is usually quite calm and measured with his emotions. Actually, he's quite a calm guy. But he was pissed off after that game. He used the words, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Like, when people talk like that, that's not Gareth Southgate handling his media response. That's him talking as him. It's an absolute joke what our fans are doing. He was in his bag. He was vexed. He was angry. So and that emotional response, that's what it triggers. And these are human beings. Look, he's the one supporting Harry Maguire every day, and he's fed up of it. But I think he's called the wrong move in one, playing him, and two, the response afterwards. It would have been probably better for him to say, Harry's got a strong head on his shoulders. Apart from the own goal, he was fine, and we managed to do really well. So it's nothing that Harry's not used to, and we continue to support him here with the players, and he does a good job for us. But when he's gone, the media, 100%. when he's gone to media, the pundits, our own fans started this in England. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. That means that just gives everyone a chance to say he's rattled. Look, he's coming out and saying all this, and then people look more into it and say, well, hang on a minute, why did you even play him? Why did you do this? Because if he didn't do that,
Because if
then
Harry
people
Maguire
wouldn't have gone into
plays
it.
against Brighton at the weekend, look, there's a chance he might, given our centre back injuries. You know what I mean?
A big chance.
What's now one of the conversations going to be going in? The spotlight's going to be firmly up again, bang on him. And if I was Harry Maguire, I'd be like, I've scored an own goal. There'd have been pressure on me, but now it's just gone to another level again.
Well,
why? Because you're talking about me.
Because you're talking about me, and that's what I mean. And look, his mum. Listen, any mother defending their child, right, especially at this level of scrutiny. I know some people in the comments are saying, "Oh, why does mum do that?" and all of that. That's his mum, man. When it comes to family, you back your family. Does it help? I mean, I know when Mason Mount's brother obviously came out and said, some stuff backing him. Sometimes you get very hands-on parents who do get involved in the social media stuff and jump to the defense of their child.
We're certainly family
members, or family members, should I say? And on one hand, you can say it doesn't help, though. It just it gives people a chance to keep talking. And as long as you're supporting him, as long as you know that you're doing everything right by your son, by your daughter, by whoever it is, by your brother, by your family member, as long as you know that you're giving them that, environment to be okay in, then you don't need to go to social media. And now people are going to be on your posts trolling and saying things. But when you're defending a family or member or loved one, who are you to tell someone how to back them? Do you know what I mean?
No.
So I get that, but essentially it probably won't help now, because she's probably going to receive all kind of DMs and stuff like that. I don't know if you can respond to her, whatever, but you're going to get a lot of people who obviously take this thing over the top, sending her a whole bunch of crap. Now she's probably going to be subject to it. Now his mum probably goes, I don't care. It's my son. Come at me. I don't care. But I don't know. It's like what you said there, Owen. It just was. Now we finished that Harry Maguire thing a little while ago, and then we've had to go back to it because of that. So it essentially it doesn't help, but
and again, it must be stressed. It's not to justify it, because I think this is this weird line that I've definitely noticed in the last 24, 48 hours about this, is that so you can don't be mistaken. You can criticize Harry Maguire's performances. You can criticize or share your opinion about his inclusion in the England squad, whether he should be in the England squad, whether he should be playing for Man United, whether he should have been the captain, whether he should have gone in the summer. And I think that's fair game. That's fair game.
Correct.
That's opinion-based criticism, and it's valid. It's fair game.
Keep it to the game. Keep it to his performances.
Sometimes those people that are so anti-Maguire, and I'm not saying I'm pro-Maguire, because I'm really not, but people go so far, so far, and they take it way too far about, like I said, a guy had a bomb threat at his house, or get into just personal, just the way he looks, all that kind of stuff, and it's
it's ridiculous.
What are we doing? So I do agree with what she's saying, where she says some of it is too far, but at the same time, not that it's a competition, because it's really not. Once you start getting into, he's had more abuse than anywhere out, any other player, and you go, I don't know if that's necessarily true, and I'm not really sure it's a competition. Have people taken it too far? Yes. Is some of the criticism valid? Yes. And what doesn't help, like I said, is sort of the doubling down that sometimes the media do on it. And if you give them, they're like piranhas. And if you throw a little bit of meat into the water, they will rip it off you. And that's what they do. They've been doing this. Look at the Sancho Ten Hag thing. Brilliant. International break story. Yum, yum, yum. Maguire. As soon as the own goal happened, if no one had said anything after the own goal, it'd have been there for a day. Oh, Harry Maguire, what's he like again? But with Southgate's comments and that kind of stuff, like I said, it just poked the bear. And that's part of the problem. Now, one of the questions Ten Hag, there's another thing Ten Hag's going to be asked about in the press conference tomorrow, isn't it? And just another thing again.
This press conference tomorrow, mate, better be a 3-part special, because I don't know how they're going to I don't even know how they're going to talk about the Brighton game.
There probably won't be any questions. They have to do that thing when he goes, I'm here to talk about the game.
Yeah, it'll be about all the statements, all this stuff that's happened off field, and then all the injuries. That will take up the whole thing. Let's get some super chats out, or members chats. Produced by Palmeria says, tells me Ten Hag doesn't want him. And this is on Sancho. And he has told the club to get rid of him. The club need to back the manager with this. Don't undermine him. Matifalu says, is the manager always right? Maybe Sancho saying other things played a part is why Richard and John got involved. Can't Sancho be right in this? Good point. Good point. Maybe they are getting involved because of what Sancho said. There's other reasons. In a place of work, there are systems in place of where you can, make complaints or speak to superiors or whatever it is. I'm just making a hypothetical in reference to Matifalu's point, which we didn't really explore actually, that maybe Sancho went to his, Oh, of course,
very, very serious.
of course,
I mean,
of course.
If it's just like favoritism, he's playing Anthony
yeah,
over me.
yeah, of course. But I know we don't know what it is. It would have to be very serious, but it would also be quite serious or something extra. What's going on for them guys to be involved? So maybe Sancho went to his agent and said, "Can you go and speak to the CEO and stuff and say these are the things I've noticed. I ain't happy. We're not happy about this." But that is a valid comment. Could Sancho be right in all of this? Don't know. Don't know, to be honest, but it is a good point. Reyes says, I'd go all out for Evan Ferguson, in my opinion. Next best. When you see the Brighton preview coming out, actually, that I did with Ryan from TSR, and he's also on the Seagulls social as well, Seagulls podcast, I think. He had some interesting things to say about Evan Ferguson. So make sure you guys look out for that this evening. That's coming out 6 p.m. The Brighton preview is really, really good. And Doom, I've been a member for 14 months. Big up to you. Says, I remember Tim Sherwood saying he doesn't like Martial's face live on TV. Generally, football is filled with this type of rhetoric and it spreads. It's sad. Honestly, I remember that. And that's why, and that's why when the character assassination starts happening, like when they start saying Sancho's shy or doesn't speak that much, or 100%, I'm always very skeptical to go down that road. Let's just stick to he made the statement and he shouldn't make a statement about the manager in public. How do we deal with that? Not one day he went to an Adidas shoot for the shirt and they couldn't get him to smile. Like, shut up, man.
And that is also why when we do this, or at least we try to most of the time, we always say if this is true, allegedly and all this kind of stuff. Because look, sometimes reports get put out there and then a few minutes later or a few hours later, they turn out to be completely the opposite. So you'd have to keep an open mind.
Absolutely. And Maxwell Smart, thanks for the super chat, says, hi guys, there is no justification for what Harry Maguire is being put under. Nobody in the world we live in today deserves that. People with less mental strength may have ended things by now. Sorry for a bit trigger warning there. And remember Caroline Flack, this is life. And look, that is true in terms of what Owen just literally spoke about the excessive nature of bashing somebody online. We would never do that here. We would never be personal here, and it is about you as a person. People who go online and start putting up memes of Harry Maguire and calling him names and not talking about his football performances and is waning in and making silly noises when he touches the ball and stuff. Yeah, they're not thinking about how he's going to feel in that. They're just thinking of the football side of it. It was like, well, he should have left. He's brought it on himself. But it is tough. 100% that is tough.
Well, that's why I went back to like when he got booed at Dublin. What's the point?
And what happened? We come out. We all said. Oh, I say we all. I certainly did. I know you did, Owen. I said, I said in the video in the Aviva Stadium. I said that was out of order. That was that. You don't boo your own players ever. You don't
for playing.
For playing. for playing. He's just made a mistake. Let's boo him more so we can concede 5 more goals from him giving it to them and then they score. Like it doesn't help. And I actually do think if he does have to play against Brighton on the weekend, because like you said, Owen, we don't know what's happening with Martinez. We might not want to risk him. We might want to let him train for a bit and see what's really going on. Because if he's getting some pain in his foot, it might be a recurrence of a serious injury. We can't afford to risk that. So there's a good chance that Harry Maguire might play. And there's no Luke Shaw, as we know. And I don't think Johnny Evans is going to play next to Lindelof at all. It'll be Harry Maguire. So unless he puts Casemiro there or some crazy thing, but I don't think he will. So one thing I do know, that's what I was going to say, is Old Trafford won't boo him. The match-going fans in Old Trafford, if anything, after what's happened, they'll give him a big cheer, because again, in the eye of it's 3 p.m. we're about to play Brighton. See, Joe Blackman says, "I'm sorry, Flex. I disagree. You can boo your own players if they deserve it." Fair enough. So Joe, if at 3 p.m. you was in the ground and we're about to play Brighton, very good team, and you know that the announcer always, number 1, David De Gea, number 2, Victor Lindelof.
Old school.
Yeah, exactly. Proper old school.
Number 24, Andre Onana.
Yeah, it's mad. Yeah, it's insane. But you get my gist, yeah? Number 7, Mason Mount. In that, when he says, what's Harry Maguire? Number 5? 4. What is he?
5.
5. Number 5, Harry Maguire. Joe Blackman, are you saying you're going to go boo and everyone should go boo, boo, get out, like before the game? Is that what you would do?
What I would say with that, the thing is as well, is whatever your opinions are of Harry Maguire, when he's at 3 o'clock at home against Brighton, if you booing him is making him more likely to perform badly and more likely for Man United to lose, right? Do you want
Absolutely.
your team lose, you know, or anything
Come
like
on.
that? You want to make it the best atmosphere possible that makes them thrive, does it not? You know, park your opinions to one
Come
side. You
on,
want your
man.
team to win, don't you? You
We
know,
can't. A lot of people are saying, yeah, they would be. I think people are just. I think we're being a bit silly here, guys. You know, I mean, this is look. Everyone's got an opinion, but to boo, Andrea says, "I will boo, no doubt." I just don't. I don't see how you think booing him is going to make him play better, so that we're
and
able to
United
have a
win.
better chance of winning the game.
Win.
He's about to play Evan Ferguson with flipping João Pedro just behind him, and bloody Pascal Solly March on the wing, and Matoma cutting in, and all the. And then you were just going to boo him and make him nervous on every touch. Or
Well,
when
not
he
even
touch it,
that. Not even
when
that.
he
Not
touch
even
it, are
just
we going to go?
Maguire. Not
Oh,
even just Maguire.
hey,
Not even just Maguire. That hurts the whole team in
the
general.
whole team.
It makes a difficult atmosphere for the whole team, and the whole team then begins to struggle, does it not? And then if afterwards we lose that game or we don't get the result that we want, are we supposed to feel good about ourselves? We told him next time Ten Hag won't pick him. Is that really what we're looking for? Because we're stuck with him till January. Either way, you know, and we'll have Johnny Evans play instead then, and
Mm.
we'll cheer him when he's struggling. Like, you know,
I don't, I don't, I don't, I
I,
don't, I
and
don't
again,
get it.
and the thing is now, and this is what I'm talking about. The thing is now, this will now come. Why are you backing Maguire, you two? Why are you doing that? Why are you being pro him? It's not that. He should have left in the summer. He shouldn't be in the England squad. It should be at a point where this isn't even a conversation because he should be long gone. Gareth Southgate should have said to him age ago, I'm not going to pick you. Man United should have resolved his exit way earlier on in the transfer window. They should have figured that all out, but they didn't. But when they
Mm.
step across the white line and they're playing a game for the team that you support, you want your team to win and you back the players. And then after the game, if you still don't like Maguire, which probably you won't, say what you want. Do that after that. But
Mm.
during
Well,
the
what,
game,
what,
what does that
well,
have?
what
How
some
does that
people
help?
do
That
is if
doesn't
he
help
gets taken
anyone.
off, yeah, you know, when some people get taken off, they do the ironic claps or cheers. If remember happened to Abue, that was a really tough watch. You know, he got sent on and then taken off, and all the Arsenal fans were clapping and cheering and say, "Look, get this guy off." Joe Blackman, and again, this is I like this sort of, you know, this is an open community. Joe Blackman has been a member for a while. He says, "I want my team to win. I never want my team to lose, but honestly, um, we should realize, but he should realize when the fans have lost touch with you, 100%. Why can't we let our players know how we feel?" I think it's very clear how. I don't think by booing Harry Maguire before Brighton, he will be like, "Oh bloody hell! I didn't realize there was a bit of an issue between me and the fans. I didn't
I'm
realize
talking
they."
about during the
Do you know
game.
what I
I'm talking
mean?
about even before when they announce him or whatever, and you go, oh, you don't say anything, whatever, fuck, whatever. But I mean, like during the game, like at Dublin, every time he touches the ball, you know,
Yeah.
you get the boo, stuff like that. That's just not productive. It's not. And
No,
people
I think Owen. I
and
think even before. I think even when they ring. I think even when they call out his name, if you don't cheer, right? I know you can say. I know it's your right, but let's just say, basically, if you give off the vibe to him before the game, before he's about to kick off, that it's not well. So there's grunts and moans when you call out his name. I'm saying that's wrong. I'm saying, listen, even if you
I'm just
don't,
saying, don't
whatever,
say
just
anything.
support him.
Don't say
Well, imagine this is
anything.
quiet. And Harry Maguire.
No, some players get louder cheers than others. You've all been there.
Oh
We've
yeah,
all been there,
loud,
Flex. You know what I
louder
mean?
cheers than others, but
Or some
dead
get none.
silence and
Some get none.
that's peak.
Like sometimes when they have they go and then they get to the players on the bench and that player that people don't really know who they are and they go and so, and people just go, hey.
Listen, mate. If it's me, I don't care what's going on. Yeah, if I'm in the stadium and they're calling out his name, I'm gonna cheer because I just want him to. I want him to get the confidence to play well in this match.
Then it comes ironic though, doesn't it?
It will be ironic if
Harry
everyone.
Maguire, yeah,
But Owen, but here's the thing. That's what Old Trafford will do, though.
yes.
That's what the match day. That's what the match day fans will do. They will do. It will go from one thing to the other. So where I'm saying don't not support him, it will be so loud that it will probably get the biggest cheer of them all, and we'll know why that is. But it's louder. It's supporting him.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying, like,
confetti and all, says Raiden
I'm
55.
saying during the match, like when he's touching the ball, like we saw in Dublin that time, when he's getting booed every time he touched it. That to me is just
That's
not
ridiculous.
productive at all. There's just no
No.
point. There is no point to that.
Let the away fans do that.
Once the game started, there's nothing that we can do. Like, it surely the role of the fan surely is to try and like influence the result positively, not negatively, because that's what
Yeah.
that will ultimately do.
Yeah.
For me.
Exactly. Chris says, it's been a member for 2 months. Can we all smash can we smash the like button, guys? Thanks. Can we do that? Yes, nearly 2,000 people watching live. Not even 300 likes. We've been talking about a lot. So yeah, if we could, that'd be great. King Stash says Maguire will cost us games whether we boo him or not because he's a terrible footballer. Arsenal cheered when he was subbed on. Can't handle the pressure. And Gemini says it's Maguire's fault why we boo him. Simple. Leave. So people having their say on this. Not long left of the show. Let's go through the rest of the situations there, Owen. The United Premier League squad, where you got to finalise the deadline of who you're registering for the whole season, has passed, and there were some interesting inclusions.
Yes, interesting inclusions indeed. Probably the most interesting one was actually Donny van der Beek, who was included. Jane Sancho was also included in the squad. Of course, several people weren't officially registered because they fall under the 21 and under rule. So the likes of Rasmus Højlund, Hannibal, Kobbie Mainoo, Ahmad, Alejandro Garnacho, etc. were all not registered as well. But probably, the most surprising inclusions were people like Donny, people like Sancho. I mean, it'd have been a big story if Jane Sancho was born from the squad.
I don't think it's. I think it's like you said, the other way around. If these guys, if Anthony wasn't in it and Sancho wasn't in it, well, that tells us they ain't going to play for the rest of the season. They're gone.
Yeah, well, until January at the very least.
Sorry, until January. So that's that would be a big problem. So obviously there's a view that they're saying, listen, obviously there's stuff to work out, but we don't know when and Anthony's going to come back. It might be before then, might be after then. Who knows? So yeah, there's no surprises there, but interesting to see that that does make a bit of a statement that they are there. And on to Martinez concerns. Like we spoke a little bit about it. There was a piece in the Telegraph, was it?
Yeah, James Ducker was saying that basically, like we were kind of saying yesterday, kind of expanding upon that the fact that Martinez wasn't involved in the squads for the 2 Argentina internationals during the international break, despite going over there and training. There reportedly is still some concern about his foot injury and the discomfort that he's having in his foot. So his status is kind of up in the air, I guess, for the game at the weekend as well. But one person that does look like he will be included, despite having some injury concerns during the international break, is Sofyan Amrabat, according to James Ducker in the Telegraph. Erik ten Hag hopes to have new signing Sofyan Amrabat available to face Brighton at Old Trafford on Saturday, despite the midfielder sitting out Morocco's recent internationals as an injury precaution. So Martinez up in the air. Amrabat, he is looking like he's probably going to be available. Whether or not he starts, I don't know. What do you think that team looks like on Saturday? I mean, look, just another question that Ten Hag's got to answer in that press conference. What's going on?
Let's predict the team. My team is this. What I think he's going to do. Yeah. Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire.
So you don't think Leacher makes it?
No, I think there's something we have to be really careful there, man. I don't know. I just got a feeling they'll have a look and be like, not sure. But I hope I'm wrong on that. I just got a feeling. He won't make it. Obviously, Dalot left back. Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno.
Amrabat on the bench.
McTominay on the bench. And then Rashford, Højlund. I think he'd do like Garnacho or something.
You don't think he's going to go Palestri?
I don't think he's going to start Palestri, man.
I think he will.
I hope so.
I'm going with Onana.
I really hope so.
I agree on the back 4 because I'm worried about Martinez. I am.
Might need to go and make sure he gets that
sorted. This isn't just like the international break thing here. This has been since the beginning of the season when he came off against Wolves, and they said, it's a yellow card. But I remember Varane said afterwards, no, he felt something in his tendon or something like that, and clearly it's bothering him. Clearly he's doing games, and then he's getting to like the 70th or 80th minute, being like, my foot is just not feeling right. It's not feeling good. And it looks like it's a weird one in that it feels fine, or he feels like, I'll be fine, no problem. And then he's playing or he's training, and he's like, no, this is still not right. But it's not like preventing him from doing 45 minutes or, you know what I mean? It's just that like discomfort thing, because he went training. After the game, he was walking around like he was fine after the Arsenal game. So clearly there's something going on with that at the moment. I don't know. I mean, some people might say, look, he went into some physical. It doesn't help as well that the way he plays is so physical that he's going to get knocks and bangs on it, isn't he? Because he flies into tackles, and maybe it's like an impact thing of like he keeps getting these knocks to it, and he's like, oh my God, my foot is still killing me. I don't know. And maybe it might be a thing of Ten Hag thinking like we really need him for the Bayern Munich game. Even if he's sort of 50%, let's save him, play him in the Champions League. So I agree. I think Maguire will probably play, which again, after this week is another big conversation. Dalot at left back. I don't think Reguilon comes in. I still think Reguilon, look, he's got a break clause in January. I think he's going back in January. I think he is literally just there in case, like, what happens if Dalot gets injured, or what happens if Wan-Bissaka gets injured?
He might not even play again.
Maybe not.
Or he might play like Carabao Cup when we've got Palace.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I think Dalot plays left back. Midfield, I think he goes Casemiro. Amrabat takes the risk. Flex.
Oh wow!
Takes the risk.
Going for
Bruno,
it. Yeah? Okay.
And Bruno in the 10. Rashford on the left.
You think he's going to drop Christian Eriksen after playing that good? And he loves Christian Eriksen.
Well, he's had a really good international break, hasn't he? Actually.
Yeah, I can't see him dropping Eriksen. But that's your decision.
It's not my decision. I can go back on it.
No, you can't.
I just thought he might.
Yeah, because I want to go back on mine as well.
He might want to go. He might want to go like 45, 60 minutes of being like, I really need him for Bayern. I really need those two for Bayern. I need to get some play time.
I don't think it's time though. I just think you just take off Eriksen after like 65, 70 minutes.
What, and then
give Amrabat like 20 minutes
the game.
15, 20
minutes. Yeah, possibly. But I think Pellistri Willian starts.
Yeah, I don't think. Now I think about it, I don't think Garnacho. I actually think Rashford could start on the right.
What, and then Garnacho on the left. But I just don't want him to do it because
of course not.
With
Rashford sharp from the left.
Let's play
the other day.
Why is Rashford always the consequence of all of the madness going on? You know what I mean? We don't have a striker.
Because he's the most senior one there.
We don't have a right winger. Put Rashford there. It's like, just keep him there.
Yeah. And it doesn't really help that Martial's available, because it's like we want Højlund to play. Martial don't really play anywhere else.
Good. We've got options up front. Good.
Yeah. So Højlund might not even start. He might start Martial again.
He got to start.
I mean, he's played half an hour for us.
Yeah.
He played, and then 2 substitute appearances for Denmark.
He's ready.
So you'd like to think so, but maybe he might assess him and go, not yet. Not yet.
Ready.
But I want him to start, because I think it just give the place a lift. It just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
United Kev, says we need the international break to end so we can focus on the football. Anti-United agendas across the media over the past 2 weeks have reached new highs. Erik ten Hag, best manager we've had since Sir Alex. Yeah. You can like them. Oh, that's good, isn't it? Didn't they could do that?
Yeah.
Dima says, would you go 4-3-1-2? Rashford and Højlund up top, Bruno in behind with a three of Eriksen, Casemiro, and Amrabat. I wouldn't. No. We haven't worked on that. That's just, I can't see Ten Hag just trying something new out of the blue. I still think he'll play I still think he'll play the 4-2-3-1, or whether it's a 4-3-3 with 2 8s and 6. You know, we'll have to wait and see where we go from there. But guys, like I said, later on today, the preview for the game with Brighton is coming out tonight at 6 p.m. around that time. Look out for it. It was really good chat with Ryan from TSR. Great Brighton fan. And a really good insight into their team and how they're looking to it. I'm going to tell you now, confident. They are confident. Coming for the W. And I was listening to him, no spoilers too much, but I was like, I really got much to say back to that. He's right.
Like, they're going to get onto you again. You're not.
No.
You're not backing your team again, Flex. You're not backing your team. Why do you always support the rivals?
No, didn't do that, because when you watch it, you'll see I went, listen, it's Old Trafford though, and XYZ, and I did say he was going to win. However, a lot of points he was making, you were a fair point. You're not just talking crap because you don't not believe that. Is what I was like. He believes that, and he's got every right to believe it. So look out for that. And again, anything across what happens during the day, we can bring that to you as well. And tomorrow, big day, massive day tomorrow with the press conference. It's going to be insane what happens in that. So yeah, stay tuned. We will see you all again very soon. Take care. Peace.